Josh, thanks. Welcome to my kitchen.
I'm glad to be here. So just some basic, within the basics of teaching you what the knife is, how does it feel? How do you, keep it honed from time to time? The other thing is, how do you hold this? When I first started cooking, that is how I wanted to hold a knife.
Yeah.
I have no idea why. No one taught me to do that, but that's what worked for me until I started working for an actual chef, and he walks by and, you would have thought I was holding it like this or something, the way he reacted. But for the most part, sometimes I'll revert back to that, but it's more in finesse movements. How I'm holding a knife 99% of the time is just like this. You have the most amount of control. So my thumb is on the inside. I have my 3 fingers around the bottom, and then I have my index finger on the inside. Now what this is allowing me to do is, 1, I have a good grip on the knife. 2, my fingers are completely out of danger. But when you're doing different things, you're going to notice that you have to apply pressure to the knife in different places. So if I have, say, a zucchini, and I'm cutting the zucchini like that, it's different than if I had something like, I'm trying to think, a carrot, and I was pushing through the carrot. So you're going to notice this is going to, in the vegetable, whatever it is you're cutting is going to tell you what you need to do, as long as you're putting it on the right part of the knife. You would never take a thick, uncooked carrot and try to cut it like this. You would never do that. So that's another reason why I like this knife, is because it's very versatile.
And Josh, the other thing I noticed, which none of your fingers are ever the knife. You curl the fingers in.
No. I keep them safe. So I mean, really, how it all starts out. At times I will actually hold my hand like that, which is more of an advanced thing. But in the very beginning, you keep your fingers like that, and the knife is almost resting right on the nail.
Right.
So when I first started cutting things, that's how it used to be. So you see I have my 2 fingers up like that, and then the knife is right on the nail, and then I'm just drawing it back. And then that way, if I mistake with a knife and go in, I'm hitting my nails. Now I've gotten a little bit more used to it, so, I actually use my fingers to keep my hand safe. If you're going to be doing something that's going to involve the knife being pretty close to your fingers, get your tips like that. If it feels comfortable to use your nail, then do that. If for some reason it feels more comfortable, like me, just to use your fingers, you can do that too. But one of the most humbling experiences when I went to culinary school was the fact that I didn't know how to cut an onion. So I don't even remember how I used to cut it. I think I used to take the top off, cut it like that, peel it down so I had the whole onion, and then I would cut slices, and then I would dice up the slices. That made perfect sense to me. I was 21, I knew everything. What you want to do is that's referred to as the stem end. So you have the stem end and the root end. So if you're ever watching a cooking show and they refer to the stem or the root end, that's what it is. Stem on top, root on bottom. So the stem end comes off first. That goes down. Now you have the root end facing upwards. You're going to go right through that, splitting into 2 different pieces. So now there's a lot of different things that you would cut differently with an onion. Like I remember the basic cut that you hear is julienne. So a lot of times if you get a steak with sauteed onions, what they're doing is they're cutting it like this. So that's your julienne, and all you're doing is you're taking, if it's like this, you're just cutting inward, not straight up and down.
Gotcha.
Because the onion's curved. So you go straight up and down, you don't get even pieces. If you don't have even pieces, then it doesn't cook evenly. So what you're doing is you're cutting inward like that as you go around.
Yeah, so all the pieces turn out.
That's what you end up with. And that, for cooking an onion, that is supposed to be the way to cut it, where you get the most texture that's desirable for it. But then, I just messed up. It doesn't matter. What I was going to show you, if you want to dice the onion, so I don't normally run my mouth as much when I cook, and I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. So imagine this is still here, because that's what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
The root
Leave the root on it.
the
It holds
root
it together.
Exactly. So what you want to do, if you were to make a salad, because you don't want to put this on a salad.
Okay.
The way the texture is going to be, it's just not desirable. I don't remember all the rules of it, but I remember this is for when you cook an onion, and it's something about the way it crunches. And
Really?
and yeah,
Wow.
the dice, it feels better. It's more refreshing. I can't, if you do it, I promise you, if you do it, you're going to notice. So anyway, if you're going to dice an onion, I always like to take this edge off first. You never get a good dice out of that because it's rounded.
Oh.
So you take that off, and then all you want to keep in mind is you go further for thicker pieces. So like if I say I want small dice, and the dice measurements are 1/4 inch. So, I'm going to make 1/4 inch cuts. And keep your hand on the top of it, put the knife in there, carefully cut in, and you don't want to go that far
Right,
into
you don't
it.
want to cut into the root.
No, not too far. But that's kind of why this was supposed
Right,
to be on
hold
here.
it together, yeah.
So it'll help hold it together. And then all you're doing is you're going, and this is, like I said earlier, if your grip is right, it's going to tell you, how to cut through here. So if you're very nervous about how to cut, you can put the point way down like that and just kind of work your way through. Mm-hmm. But if you're more confident, and just remember, the knife has all this on there because it's not a cleaver.
Right.
It has this distance on it to use it. So, a little bit of pressure, but then cut through also.
It's a rocking motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff inside the peppers, and really the best way to dodge all of that is just kind of to cut straight through, but give yourself a good 1/4 inch or so away from the green, maybe 1/2 inch. But if you really want to use every single piece of the pepper, you can, but at times in restaurants, there's a certain level of loss that comes, but the trade-off for the labor and the speed is fair. So, that's how I cut them at home. So anyway, you're taking your knife about midway through the knife. So there's always has to be an element of pressure, obviously, or the knife's not gonna go anywhere. But at the same time, the motion is more so what's going on. So I mean, if I push, I'm pushing right now. It's not doing anything, but then. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I remember my first chef that I ever worked for that convinced me to go to culinary school. He used to refer to it as the Zen. Your Zen is good if you're not destroying your hands and your vegetables.
I don't repeat myself, but having a sharp knife makes things so much easier in the kitchen.
It makes all the difference in the world.
So.
And actually, you're more likely to cut yourself with a dull knife. So anyway, those are the initial cuts.
Or come over here and we'll try all mine out.
Yeah.
The thing I like about what you're doing here is you don't have to worry about all the stuff in the middle now.
No, this is a easily disposable piece. Which I mean, if it breaks your heart to throw this piece out, then you can take that right off and cut it into whatever you want. The only thing is, it doesn't cook evenly.
If everything's the same size, it cooks more evenly.
It's going to cook evenly.
Because the corner piece there, that would take a lot longer to cook, and then these are overcooked.
Yeah. So, and then people wonder about what is inside the pepper. This is the membrane that holds all the seeds in place, and I like to keep it real simple. If I'm going to cook it, there's nothing wrong with this membrane. It is the hottest part of the pepper. So if you're going to cook with, say, a jalapeno or why is it escaping? A habanero or a Scotch bonnet or anything, this is the part that you don't want in the pepper. People always say, "Oh, the seeds are the hottest part." They're hot, but that's hotter. That's the hottest. But these are bell peppers; they're mild. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to cook it, this really doesn't matter. We're going to put this in an omelet anyway, so I'm going to leave that in there. But if I were doing, say, a vegetable tray or something like that, you're making a little crudité, you have friends coming over or whatever, then you want to just take that out. So just go right through it and take that out. It looks cleaner.
Yeah.
But then if you were going to do a crudité, you just square it off. So you square off your edges there, and then, keeping my fingers out of the way, if you want bigger pieces, you can cut it like that. you know. Simple. And
Yeah,
the
that's
basic
neat.
thing is, just get a knife, get comfortable with your knife. You're not going to make good food if you're terrified about what you're doing here.
Okay, Josh, I've learned a lot here today, and I'll tell you what, you're teaching me how to make the perfect omelet. So let's end this show today, and then we'll come back and do a show on you sauteing them and get them nice and cooked, and then do the omelet. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right, and thanks for joining us today on Culinary Capers. Bye for now.